So till Friday we have completed till here the protocols, different protocol we are using like HTTP, FTP, SMTP for different format for transferring data from different machine to another machine through socket. So different machine means we can say it's a different server having different IP. So along with IP, I also mentioned that there is some in one IP, in one server, there may be multiple ports to running different programs. So you can see here, I have assigned some port like 443, and 443 is always used whenever it is a HTTP secure connection, HTTPS, and otherwise by default we use 8080, port 80. Or you can add another, another port as well, and port consists of usually 4 digit. So you can assign any port before you start to any program you are running in the server, different program in different in the same server. So today we are going to learn about HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. But now here HTTP is one module, uh, uh, the core Node.js module, which is already defined inside library of Node.js. So this is used to create, it is specially used for networking purpose, means creating a server. In case of Node, it is allow you to create a server, and then you can web server, then you can use to transfer data from server to client and client to server both, right? So to start working on it, first we should see uh, what is the thing we can do using HTTP. So, okay, so you can see some code over here, like I'm including or importing HTTP module, which is a default module, so we don't have to give any relative path. Directly we have to use the name of the module. Then I'm using one method to create server, which is already inside the HTTP module, which has which contain a callback over here. See, arrow function is used as a callback inside the create server method, and there are some parameters always we use whenever creating server, and most of the time in the API development we will see that request and response parameter. Always request is for whatever request coming from a parameter catching all the data coming from clients, data coming from client, and response whenever you are sending from server to client. So there is you can see first, let's remove this. So now you can see, let me open the terminal. It's running. Okay, now the server.js. Okay, so now what is it? So I am creating a server and assigning one port to it. So inside server means inside create server, there is another uh, method which is called listen. Here we can assign the port, and in callback we are giving some message that our server is running, right? So you can see this port over here, right? I'm assigning 3000 port, and if I pass this port over here, so in this port our web server is running. So when if you want to access it in the browser, so you can write over here, let me set it to somewhere else, right over here, localhost the host name. Then you can or you can write something like 127.0.0.1 like this. local was 3000, sorry, 3000. Now you can see our server should running over here, but now it is not running. So what is the issue now? Why it is not running then? Okay.
Is it because we have not written anything in create server?
Okay, got it. Because it is hanging because we don't have any response from here. That's why in response you have to pass something else, something, right? So don't go here. Let's go over here. So inside server, we have to pass something like response dot end, which is which is important. If you are not passing this method, then your request is going to be hang. So look at this. Now you can see hello CK. So whatever you have wrote inside the server.js, always whenever you are completing this response from here, you have to use response.end in case of HTTP method. But whenever you are going to use express, then you have to use send, SEND. Okay, so it should be always there. So before that, we should learn some more things about some parameters like header. So if I am consoling over here, you have to put it just above it, console dot log request. Sorry, we can write directly because I already copied from there. So if I'm putting request over here, then you can see the request from the server, the request object. You can see this request object. There are so many parameters available over here. So we are not going to learn each and every parameter inside the header object. Okay, header dot host, header dot accept connection, right? So you can use header dot, just putting the same one, headers. So you can see all headers over here in console. I'm calling it from the front end. I can see all the header objects. Okay. So like headers, there are so many other objects available. So whenever you are checking, whenever sending something in request, you can check it from request object always, right? Then you can check request.url. You can check what are the method you are using. You can use whatever you want. You can check from here because request object is already there. Then you can, from that object, you can see the value of that of all parameters is already here. Let's see. Headers is there. URL is slash, and method I'm using is get. So like this, you can access whatever you want from the request object. And same in response, I am sending some text over here. So right now you can see the by default it is accepting HTML or text, right? ggp already enabled over there, and this is the content type you are sending to the front end. So whenever you are sending any object, for example, this one, so I'm sending an array of object. So when most of the time we're dealing with the same, right? So let's put it over here. It is one object, and I'm sending it inside this. Let's create one object, and I'm sending it like this. Put everything, then I'll explain one by one. Okay. If response.end is not there, then the request is not going to be complete. So you have to put it over there. So right now you can see, you can set any headers. Headers means response.header means what type of data you are going to send to the front end. Edit type is text or JSON. And you can set the custom, you can set custom header like power by, whatever you want to set, you can set it over here, power by Node.js. So you can see it over there as well. So and what are the content you are going to send to the front end, you can pass inside response.write. Response.write, you can send HTML as well, because I've written over here text or HTML. So let's see what happens. Then I can send, for example, to do only, not object or stringify. So let's see what happens. Getting error. So you can see all the content over here, but whenever I'm passing the direct object, then it don't allow to pass it, because it always pass the string. It not allowed to pass the object. So I have just convert the object to string. Then you can see it over here. Sorry, here the object is here in the form of string. Then the HTML is printing just like a text. It is not compiling in the browser. But if I make it text HTML, instead of text you can make it as HTML, and let's see what happened over here. So it allowed to download it. Let's make it comment and make it comment. Let's see HTML and text. Text and HTML. Content type is most important. Look, it is now, as I'm sending HTML, so it is compiling in the browser. If I'm writing over here instead of HTML, this is a plain text, then what happened? Now it will not display properly.
But I guess PLAIN should be
Sorry,
there. You
what is
spell,
it?
I guess, wrong. PLAN you wrote. It should be PLAIN.
Sorry, but it is, it will not compile now. Look, if it is a plain text, then it will not compile, right? So you have to pass what is the type of content you are passing from here. If you are making it text and HTML, so you can see it is compiling. Okay, it's fine. It is not, we are not going to emphasize more on that. And we are also, I mentioned that you cannot pass directly object, you have to convert it to string. Okay, so whenever you are using Express, then you don't have to deal with manual with this setting header and all the stuff. We will see maybe in a couple of days we are going to start creating API, which is very familiar because it is familiar to me and you as well. But this one is the basic things. We most of the time we are not using it. Okay. So now API. Whenever you are creating API, so what are the response code we are using? So in here you can see uh, we are not using any response code, right? But we can set different response code whenever using it. For example, this code you can see. So what I have done over here, I'm putting it over here. So I'm setting headers uh, inside write head method in the response, and the first parameter of write head is 200. It is status code, right? We can separately set the status code, or you can inside write head, you can first parameter, don't use string, it should be a number. Parameter should be a number, which is a status code, and inside it I'm passing an object which where I can set the different header of response. Then this is inside response dot head end. Instead of I am using response dot write, I can use response. I can pass whatever I want to pass inside response dot end. So I'm passing the JSON from here, so you can see it in the front end, right? But you can see it. This status code will be 200. Or what is status code? So for different purpose, we are going to use different status code, which is a very important thing. And most of the time we are manipulating our conditions. We are using our condition front end side according to the status code. So there are different types of status code we have already there. So you can see more on it from here. A link I have given, you can see the complete reference of different type of code, status code, for which purpose they are using. You can see from here. But for now, I can explaining here that the 100 series for informational, the 200 is for success purpose. 200 is for success whenever you're getting data from the server, and 201 is also success, but whenever creating data in server, means insert query is executed, then you can pass the 201 code, and these are the standardized status code we usually use. Then if no content is updated, then you can use no content or no content found, then but request is success, but we didn't get any response. So in that case, it is 204. 300 series is used for redirection, and most of the time, whenever you say this request, which is from S3 bucket or somewhere else in caching, then in that time the content is not modified. At that time, you get the status code is always 304 most of the time. You can see whenever you are using any CDN technology or in web front end, at that time, all the CDN URL, whenever executing the console, you can see these are with status 304, because these are from coming from case, these are not modified. And 400 series for client errors. So 400 400 is used for bad request. Bad request means if you are passing some wrong format, then it's so the code should be, the status code should be 400. Then if you are requesting but you are not authorized, then usually use for 401 code. Then if we are requesting properly but we didn't found the URL is not there, a wrong URL or something like this, then it is 404, means page is not there or API is not, the path is wrong. If you are using any wrong path, then for 404 we are going to pass. And 500 is any inter server error, we can use 500 error, 500 code. So these are the code, status code, standardized status code we are going to use at the time of API request response parameter, right? Another thing you can see from here, another thing is API structure. So whenever we are creating API and crowd operations, then usually we use get, post, put, fetch, and delete, right? So get is used whenever you are pulling data from the server or getting data from the server. Post is whenever sending data to the server. or submit data to the server. And put and page, whenever you are going to update data in the server, then you are going to use put. And delete, whenever you are going to destroy or delete data in the server, then you are going to use these methods. So these are the methods you are going to use whenever you are calling your API from the front end. And according to that method, we are going to identify in the server, in the API. So whenever you are creating any API, so for example, you are creating a CRUD operation for this model to do. Okay, so I'll explain what is model, schema and model. So whenever creating any CRUD operation for that model, then your API URL will be the base URL plus to do, which contain all the to do, list of all to do. Then if you want to get any specific single to do with specific ID, then it is to do slash ID. Then if you are going to create the to do, then the URL will be, look at it, it is same, but the method will be post. And of course for the put, the URL will be same as getting individual ID, but method is put. Okay, and delete also, you can see the same URL for get, put and delete, but the method is delete.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
There's a where when we should use this put method.
for update, whenever you are updating data in the server.
Also,
Always.
is there any difference between post and put?
Yes, of course. We can use both of them. We can use post for updating also, but these are the standard method, international or standard, already all the developers are using. So you have to use the same standard as well. And according to that, we are going to write API in the backend as well. So you should use put instead of post. I know, so most of the time our developers are using post for getting data, updating data, deleting data, and whatever you want to do, we can do same method. We can do, not an issue. And you can identify through any parameters that it is a delete command, it is a update command, it is a uh, get command by parameter. But this is not the right way. If we are using, then we should not use in the next project, I think. So in this methods and the API URL, do you have any questions? Anybody else? Guys? No? Okay, so it is pretty clear. So it is not difficult to understand. So now we are going to create API using Express. So this is what we understand from HTTP model. If you are going to use any HTTP model, it is not a large project, but you just want to just create two routes or two URLs, two or three URLs, then you can use direct HTTP to create the server, which is same as the Express server. But Express is a framework. Here you can see Express is a framework. Using this, you can create API efficiently and very easily. Okay, so let's see how can do API. So let me create one folder over here before start development. Go over here, create one folder, maybe inside it API new, for example this. Okay, let's close the server. Sorry, go outside, cd API new. So now inside it, nothing is there. So let's create one by one. So whenever you start development with the Express API, definitely we are using most of the time our seed projects, which is already developed, then we just deploy it and start development. But from the beginning, how it was, if we create the seed projects, a skeleton project as well, we did the same method. Right now, what I'm doing right now. So first of all, you need to create the package.json over here. Why it is sent bar all the time. So npm init you know how to create the package.json. Then is testing version 1.1. I don't want description. It is server.js. Server.js. Git repository is not there. Keyword nothing. Authors. Okay. License is not there. Yes, it is now created. So you can see a package.json has been created here, right? Now, as I explained earlier that package.json, there is dependency and script tag are more important things. So let's see one by one. So to use Express here, now this has been created, right? So you can see there is a main parameter over here, main where you can give the name of the file from which your project will start, right? So you have to create, you can understand that you have to create the server.js, and we have to create that first. So create a basic Express server, definitely you can do it. So before that, we have to create an environment file, right? So .env file. So .env is a zero dependency module. It doesn't record any module, and we can create, we can access all the variable defining inside the .env file through process.env.variable name. Okay. So you can see over here, let's create one variable over here, uh, inside, create one folder like config, inside it, config, right? Inside config, we can create one file, it is called config.env, right? We can config.env, right? So, so before using the .env and Express, you have to first install. Definitely you have to install the package. So you can install the package over here. Dash save will save your dependency into the package.json file. So now it is installing. So you can use multiple packages. You can install multiple packages simultaneously by writing this way, correct? And inside config.env file, I am putting those things, node underscore environment and port. I can define inside it, right? So these two variables can be accessed through process.env.node underscore env. Any everywhere inside this application, I can access this too, right? Then I'm creating the server.js file. It is very simple. First, I have to import these two files. Whenever I'm creating the server.js file, I have to create it in the root, new file, whose name is server.js. Okay. Then you have to import this file, .env file. So look at it, .env.config is the method in which you can pass the .env file, which is here. Okay, we can include this file over here. Which file? Our configuration file. Then I am instantiating, creating the server using instantiating or creating or calling the express method. Okay, so it return a promise, so return object, express method return object. Then I'm assigning the port over here and listen to that port. The same thing I have created most of the time whenever creating, whenever learning the Node.js core part. We did this most of the time. We did this creating server, but in that case we are using, we were using HTTP module, but here we are using Express to create the server. Now it creates the server. Then inside it, I'm calling the listen function to listen the port, and the console.log where you can see the node underscore environment, process underscore environment dot module. So I have node underscore environment and port already defined inside uh, config file, config.env file, right? So I'm saving it. Let's run the server. Now you can see server will running. So before running the server, okay, server will be running. I can run the server from here. Node server.js. So you can see server is running on development mode on port 3000. Okay, so I can access the port over here, and if port is not mentioned over there, then by default it is 5000. Port is 5000. Okay, and I'm also getting the environment, and in which environment project is running. It is development environment. Okay, so from tomorrow, okay, let's start. Then I let me explain the middleware as well. So let's see what middleware is. So middleware is nothing but it executed between request and response, in between request and response. For example, you want to do something, whenever request come, after request comes and before response send, if you want to do something, execute something, then middleware comes to the picture, right? So let's create one file over here. Right now it is 4 minutes remaining, so we can conclude, or I don't know. Let's see. Let's create one file called test for middleware only. I'm not doing anything else. So let's do it tomorrow, so that I can explain you properly. So till now, do you have any question, guys? So
Hello.
yes. So
Sir,
those hmm,
we should not call the ExpressJS is a middleware by itself.
ExpressJS is a server. It's creating a
Yeah, but
server. Yes.
okay, so it's not a middleware by itself, right?
No. And Express is not a single model. When you deploy this, sorry, install this model, you can see inside node underscore there are so many modules associated with it. And again, each module has its own package.json. So one is dependent on another, another is dependent on another, like this. So it is not a single module, it is a middleware. Middleware, how can use? We can do it tomorrow. I can explain you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
So those who are working with Node.js or any backend technology, so it might be very easy for them to understand, or might be they might be a bit bored whenever the session is going on. But it is very important for the front-end developer who is not dealing with backend before. So it is very important for them. So you should learn how the server is creating. I am creating the server, and how I am listening the port and running the server. So from here our project will start. So any other question? Anybody else? No? Bhuneshwar?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Any other front-end developer available here? Okay. So let's conclude today. So from tomorrow, we will discuss more on API, creating API using Express and middleware, all the stuff. So thank you for today.
Thank you, sir.